this Sunday morning with my exclusive interview with President Donald Trump. With 275 days until the presidential election and just days ahead of the next GOP nomination contests, the Nevada primary on February 6th and the South Carolina primary on February 24th. I met with the 45th president on Thursday at his estate in Florida amidst heightened tensions between the United States and Iran, Russia and China, and economic anxiety here at home. The backdrop, all part of the reason President Trump believes he will be locking up the GOP nomination for president very soon.
I don't know what the timing is, but I know we're leading in every single state. We are going to win Nevada very easily. That'll be next week. We have a situation where they forgot to apply, I guess, for Indiana. You don't run and not apply for Indiana, great state. And so we won Indiana, or will, and we've won just about everything we've touched. We had record numbers in, as you know, big records in New Hampshire. And Iowa was the largest percentage anyone's ever won by. So we're having tremendous victories. And I would think that it would be soon. I would certainly think so. And we're leading Biden in virtually every poll.
Let's talk about the general election. Assuming you get the nomination, it's mid-March, and you've locked up that nomination. How are you going to attract independents, those anti-Trumpers? Do you have a plan?
So I don't know if they're really anti-Trumpers. They want security, they want safety, they want a great economy, they want a strong border. The border is a disaster. Nobody's ever seen a border like this. Look, you talk about it all the time. Nobody covers it better. But you see what's going on. We're letting millions of people. I think the number is going to be 18 million people by the time he gets out.
Wow.
I think 18 million people. That's bigger than New York State.
I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
But your critics who are with Nikki Haley said that they're not going to vote for you regardless of you getting the nomination. Do you have a plan to win over those independents or anti-Trumpers that are with Nikki Haley?
Well, I'm winning every election by tremendous numbers. So she had a great chance in New Hampshire because Democrats voted for her, and she still lost by 12 or 13 points. That was the one place that she had a chance because Democrats are stupidly allowed to vote in the Republican primary, and independents also. So they voted, and we beat her by a lot. Again, I got the most votes in the history of that primary. And the same thing in Iowa. She was really fighting. She spent far more money than I spent. She's got all these characters giving her a lot of money just in the hope.
You made a comment recently that you'd be a dictator for day one. And you said that you would close the border and drill, drill, drill. What specifically did you mean by that?
Well, I think it was with Sean Hannity, and we were having fun. And I said, I'm going to be a dictator, because he asked me, are you really going to be a dictator? I said, absolutely. I'm going to be a dictator for one day. I didn't say from day one.
Did you mean executive orders? What did that mean? Is what I'm saying.
It said very simple. I'm going to close the border and we're going to drill, baby, drill. That's all. And then after that, I'm not going to be a dictator. Now, that was said in jest. And most people, I'm surprised you asked that question, but most people say it was said, if you run it along, you'd say, and after that, what I'm saying is that we're going to immediately drill, baby, drill. We're going to get energy down. And the other thing is we're going to have a strong border. We're going to close up the border, because no country is sustainable. When you look at what's happening to our country with people from jails and prisons, people from mental institutions and insane asylums coming in, our country is being destroyed.
Well, I mean, Mr. President, the reason that I asked the question is because your critics say that that's the worry, that it's the end of democracy. It's a dictator. And I wanted you to explain what it meant. In other words, does it mean executive orders? Are you planning to use more executive orders this time than last time? Would you use an executive order to close the border?
There's nothing wrong with executive orders. Biden's using them all the time.
Right.
I mean, to me, Biden is bad for democracy because he's incompetent. And frankly, you take a look at what's happening to our country. Our country is being destroyed before our very eyes. Of course, I'm not going to be doing that. I will say this. 4 years, we had no wars. We defeated ISIS. I knocked out the biggest terrorists in the world. We had the best economy ever. I cut taxes. I cut regulations at a level. I had the biggest tax cut ever. I had the biggest regulation cut ever. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We never did better. We never did better. And all of the people that say, oh, never Trump, they don't even know why they're saying it. We did a job that very few people have ever done. In fact, we're getting credit for it. We rebuilt the military. We created Space Force, which is now turning out to be very essential. I said it's going to end up being maybe our most important force because it's all going out to space now, if you look. And we are now leading Russia and China. We were way behind when I came. We had no Space Force. People thought it was a joke when I created it. Now they're saying, wow, what a great job you did.
I want to go back to immigration. Walk us through your plan for immigration, because is it as easy as going back to the security that you had in place, like the Remain in Mexico and all these other things that Joe Biden overturned? There are 8 to 10 million illegals in the country right now on Joe Biden's watch. So what do you do with them? Are you going to deport them all? What's
Well,
the
you're going
plan?
to have to deport a lot of them. It's not sustainable. And now you look, these countries are very smart. I know every one of the leaders of the countries for the most part. The presidents, the dictators, I know them all. I know the kings, the queens, I know them all. These are smart people. These are streetwise people. It makes sense that they're taking people out and sending them up in caravans to the United States. And it's not just South America. It's from Africa, from Asia, from all over
And
the
China
world.
and Asia.
Yeah. I mean, from all over the world. From China, there are 28,000 people in the last few months. 28,000. That's what's he doing? Building an army? And they were mostly men, almost all men, from the age of 18 to 25. So what's that all about?
But are you talking about mass deportation? What do you do with the 8 to 10 million people already here?
Okay, Dwight Eisenhower, believe it or not, you don't think of him as being a tough president or a great president. He was actually a very good president. He was very strong on deportation because a lot of people were coming into our country illegally. And he dropped them very close to the border and they came back. Then he dropped them 2,000 miles away and they didn't come back. We cannot allow scenes like I saw in New York 2 days ago, where policemen are being beat up by gangs of illegal immigrants, in that case from Venezuela, Honduras. We can't allow that. And these are kids that are fighters. They were not, babies. They were knocking the hell out of our policemen. We can't let this happen. These are tough people. So the heads of these countries are smart.
You did
They're
deals
not
with them.
sending the people that are doing a great job and that they love in the country. They're sending people, for the most part, that they don't want. And they're putting them into caravans. I know that because they tried it with me, but I turned back the caravans. Look, I had the safest border in the history of our country. I built 561 miles of wall, and that was good. But I also got Mexico to give us 28,000 soldiers free of charge. Now, I told them that we were not going to be happy if you don't do it. We're going to put tariffs on your cars and everything else that you sell us, which is a lot, if you don't do it. And they did it. They gave us 28,000 soldiers, and we had the best border we ever had. To this day, I had the best border we've ever had. Now we have the worst border probably in the history of the world.
I understand. I'm told that the Chinese are paying $35,000 a head, $50,000 a head to come to the southern border. They're paying the drug cartels this money. The number of Chinese nationals, and they are military-aged men, you're right, up 1,100% year over year. Are they being directed by the Communist Party to come here?
I believe so. I believe so. And I believe we're going to have a terrorist attack 100%. 100%. During my term, I had no terrorist attacks. You know that, right?
So there'll be
I had-
saboteurs? What are they?
I had all sorts of bans on people from certain countries. I had bans all over the place. We had no attack. I had nothing.
Where are we with China? How strong is China's influence on American politics, American business? Is it possible to decouple, or is it just tariffs the way you dealt with it? You used tariffs and sanctions against China.
I did, and I did very well with it. As you know, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes through the tariffs, taxes and tariffs.
Is that what you want to do again?
Combinations. Well, you have to do it. I mean, look, their stock market almost crashed when it was announced that I won the Iowa primary in a record. And then when I won New Hampshire, their stock market went down like crazy. So, obviously, I'm not looking to hurt China. I want to get along with China. I think it's great. But they've really taken advantage of our country. And we turned it around. We put big tariffs on steel. I saved the steel companies. And now Japan is buying U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel. You know what a name that is? That's the most important name. 50 years ago, there was no company like U.S. Steel. Now that Japan is buying it, I don't think I'd let that deal go through, by the way.
Well, your critics are saying that you're going to start another trade war with
It's not
China.
a trade war. I did great with China with everything. Look, China came in, they were going to destroy our steel industry, and I put tariffs, big tariffs, 50% to 100%, but 50% for the most part. It stopped it. I have steel people that every time they see me, they start to cry. They hug me. They said, you saved our industry. But now we're letting it go.
Now the Washington Post is saying that you're talking about 60% tariffs on Chinese goods. Is that in the cards?
And no, I would say maybe it's going to be more than that, because we're going to have, look, I want China to do great. I do. And I like President Xi a lot. He was a very good friend of mine during my term.
Well, look,
Until-
COVID cover-up, intellectual property
When
theft.
COVID came,
The
it
list
was
is long
different.
from our number one adversary. So I don't know if
Sure.
he's a friend.
No, but I got along with him great. I'm not sure he loved what I was doing because I was, getting along with him.
I don't
but-
think he wants you in the White House, Mr.
No,
President.
he doesn't. Their market almost crashed when I won Iowa and New Hampshire. The market went down tremendously. Look, it's not sustainable for this country to lose $500 billion a year every year, like the sun rises. We lose $500 billion a year. No country can sustain that. And we're not going to do it because the people that ran our country allowed it to happen. They would have never sent a balloon over the United States if I were president. And you understand that.
Are you saying there was never a balloon on your watch?
Well, they tried to say there wasn't. Now they find out that there wasn't. They would have never done it. He would have never done it. They respected our country 3 years ago. Today, they think our country is a joke. And it started, I think, more than anything else with Afghanistan. That was the worst display of military incompetence I've ever seen.
Do you believe China will interfere or try to interfere in the presidential election? That's what John Ratcliffe said on this program.
I think they will, and they won't be interfering on my behalf. We should go same-day voting, paper ballots, voter ID, and no mail-in ballots.
Would you try to stop China from taking over Taiwan? What would you do if they went into Taiwan?
I won't tell you now because that would really jeopardize my negotiating ability with China. So I don't talk about those things. It's very hard to say I would or I wouldn't. They know what I do and they know where I stand, and we won't have a problem.
Coming up, President Trump reacts to the U.S.'s response to Iran, plus 45 on his running mate and the criteria he's used to identify that VP candidate. Stay with us.
Brought to you by Dee Gales Inc., your business built around you. My Mary Kay Pride. Welcome, and let's talk about it with Minister. Brought to you by Dee Gales Inc., your business built around you. My Mary Kay product of the day is the Mary Kay Minimize 3D 4-in-1 Cleanser. I actually use this on my skin every morning. I use it along with the other products as well, but this is the product of the day. The Mary Kay Age Minimize 3D 4-in-1 Cleanser. If you want it, you can get it from me. It's going to be at a special price for Spirit of Beauty members for a limited time. Reach out. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Tell everyone to tune in. It is time to get caught up with Bishop Dee Gales and change the way you view the world.
I'm a hand on my feet. You crooked letter I-N-E. Crooked letter, crooked letter.
Given all the conflicts developing overseas, if you are elected in November, what's the first thing you do to get America's strength back on the international stage?
First thing you have to do is close up the border. You can't have millions of people, and then you're going to have to do a massive deportation. You have to do it.
Mr. President, I want to get back to Iran. We lost 3 service members last week. May they rest in peace. In Jordan, an enemy drone from Iranian-backed proxies launched that deadly drone strike, killed our heroes. What should be the proper response?
Before you go too far, would have never happened with me. I had Iran in check. Do you know, we hit them very hard for something that they did, and they had to hit back. They feel they have to do that, and I understand that. Do you know they called me to tell me we're going to hit a certain location, but we're not going to hit it. It's going to be outside of the perimeters.
Who called you?
Iran called me. Iran called me, called for me. And they let us know, and we had 16 missiles went off. I believe it was 16. 6 or 7 failed in the air.
When was this?
This was prior to the attack on a fort that we had where they hit back. Do you remember when they sent 18 missiles or 16 missiles? 5 failed. They let us know, don't move. We're going to have to hit you back. Psychologically, we have to do that because we hit them on something. You remember, they sent 16 or 18 missiles, and we knew they weren't going to hit inside the fort. And the media was going, and now I reveal it, the media was going wild because they say it's strange. They're very accurate missiles. How come they all missed? Nobody was killed, if you remember.
Yes,
with all
I
of those
do.
missiles, nobody was killed. Now, they had to do it because they have people and they have to show strength. So they aimed the missiles, but they said, please don't attack us. We're not going to hit you. That was respect. We had respect. When we took out Soleimani, you know, Israel was supposed to do it with us. 2 days before the takeout, they said, we can't do it. We can't do it. I said, what? We can't do it. Then I had a certain general who's great. I said, so General, do we do it ourselves? He said, we can, sir. It's up to you. I said, we'll do it. But Israel was a part of it. You know, Bibi was a big part of it. And we had everything planned, everything, because what he has done is terrible. What he did to us was terrible. Killed so many of our soldiers, killed so many people. He's the father of the roadside bomb. You know that, right? And Soleimani, we can't, it was just incredible. And al-Baghdadi, I wiped him out too.
Yeah.
We took out al-Baghdadi, the founder of ISIS, that nobody could find except me, and Soleimani, father of the roadside bomb. Now, and beyond that, killed many people. He was going to attack 5 of our military bases, and we took him out. And we took him out without Israel, because Israel, 2 days before the attack, they said, we cannot participate.
So again, what should be the response from the United States? And what do you think about Biden's response?
Well, if you're going to not want a widening war, then you're going to have to be a lot tougher initially.
He showed his
Because
cards.
right now, number one, he shouldn't even be talking about what he's going to do. He shouldn't say he's going to do anything. He's going to do much or very little. But he's incompetent. Everybody knows it. He doesn't even know. Somebody's making decisions in there. It's not him. He is very, look, when it comes to a lot of countries, I think he's a Manchurian candidate because he receives money from China. He gets a lot of money from China. People say, I wonder why he's so weak on China. He gets a lot of money from China.
Any thoughts on a response to Iran, or you don't want to discuss it?
I can't tell you what I do. I know exactly what I do. It's subject to change, of course, but I know exactly what I do. You know, there were a lot of stories. You covered it a long time ago that Iran had no money to give to Hamas or Hezbollah. They had no money. And they were all going out of business. All these terror outfits were going out of business. I said, anybody that does business buys oil, because that's the big deal. Essentially business, but oil in particular. Anybody that buys from Iran will do no business with the United States. Everybody stopped. They were selling almost nothing. They were almost out of business. They would have had a deal with me within 2 weeks after the election. Now, the deal is a very simple deal, no nuclear weapon. They're going to have a nuclear weapon in the next 60 days. And once they have a nuclear weapon, it's a whole different story. It's a whole different negotiation, whole different deal. And Biden allowed them to do this. He's allowed them. And now they're a very wealthy country. They are a country with over $200 billion, and they control Iraq. Another stupid thing that we did. Going into Iraq was a stupid thing. Remember, I used to say, don't do it, but if you do it, keep the oil.
Would you still send aid to Israel right now?
Look, we've always got to protect Israel, in my opinion. They've been, you know, they're amazing people. What they've done is it's an amazing thing, and they've been loyal to us.
Mr. President, when will you announce who your VP is?
Not for a while. I mean,
Not for a while.
we have so many great people in the Republican Party, but not for a while.
What criteria are you using to identify who your running mate is?
Always, it's got to be one thing. It's got to be who would be a good president. I mean, you always have to think that because, you know, in case of emergency, things happen, right? No matter who you are, things happen. It's got to be number one.
Who is your running mate?
Well, I have a lot of good people. We have a lot of really good people.
So you haven't decided who it is?
I have a lot of good ideas, but I haven't. And there's no reason
So
to do
you
that
haven't
quickly.
told that person, you're my person?
I speak to everybody. I speak to everybody. You know, I called Tim Scott this because a lot of people like Tim Scott. I called him and I said, "You're a much better candidate for me than you are for yourself." When I watched him, he was fine. He was good, but he was very low key, et cetera, et cetera. I watched him in the last week defending me and sticking up for me and fighting for me. I said, "Man," I said, "you're a much better person for me than you are for yourself." Because for himself, he was low key. For me, he's been a real tiger. He's been incredible, and others have too.
So maybe it's Tim Scott.
Well, it could be a lot of people, but it was interesting. I was watching Tim. I've been watching, you know, for a while. I watched him campaign as a candidate, but I watched him over the last 2 weeks. As you know, he endorsed me, fully endorsed me, gave me a beautiful endorsement, and he has been really strong in terms of that. No, but that has nothing to do. I don't want anybody to take even any inference, but it's incredible. Kristi Noem has been incredible fighting for me. She said I'd never run against him because I can't beat him. That was a very nice thing to say.
What was the
It's very
story that
bad.
your team reached out to RFK Jr.?
It's a false story. No, it's a false.
You never reached
You know
out to
what? I
RFK
like him
Jr.?
a lot. Nope, never happened.
Is it fair to believe that you would have a number of your former officials in your new cabinet?
I will put some back. I'll tell you, I came to Washington having spent almost no time in my life in Washington.
I know. You said
And
that.
all of a sudden I'm president. And I wasn't into Washington society. So I was not a Washington, I was a New York person. I was a New York builder.
Well, you
and
were an
other-
outsider, and that's why
I was
think
a
they had
totally
it in for
outsider.
you.
But the one problem with that, and I love the outsider thing, but you don't know people. So you're relying on other people to give you names to be the head of this, head of that. And by the way, we had unbelievable people. We had to look, I rebuilt
Yeah,
the
but your
military.
critics say you had plenty of personnel mistakes.
No, of course, but everybody does. Obama had. What about Biden? Look at the people running this Biden thing. The difference is I fire people. I fired Comey. I got rid of him.
You didn't fire Christopher Wray.
Well,
You hired him.
you know what? At the time, I don't know. Let's see what the final judgment is. But I didn't fire Christopher Wray. I didn't fire people I would have, but I fired a lot of people. You know, I had turnover. They have no turnover right now.
How do you know if you get back in, you don't have a network of people around you working against you?
I will. And so will anybody else that gets in as a Republican. These people are sick. These are sick people.
But do you feel better this time around because you know what to expect?
Well, I also know people that I didn't know before. I know now the smart ones. I know the dumb ones. I know the weak ones and the strong ones. I know tremendous amounts of people that I know will do a great job. But I was different. When I didn't like a job that somebody was done, I fired them, just like The Apprentice. I said, "You're fired. You have to go."
What about some of your former officials? Do you see them being in this next cabinet? Mike Pompeo, for example.
I don't know.
John Ratcliffe?
He's fantastic. I mean, he's a great guy. John Ratcliffe has done a great job.
Dr. Ben Carson?
He's done a fantastic job.
So you're expecting them to be in your cabinet?
Some of them, yeah. I mean, if somebody did a good job, I would do that. Yeah.
Coming up next, so will it really be a Trump-Biden rematch? Or will the next
Brought to you by Dee Gales Inc. Your business built around you. So, my Mary Kay product of the day is the Mary Kay Minimize 3D 4-in-1 Cleanser. I actually use this on my skin every morning. I use it along with the other products as well, but this is the product of the day. The Mary Kay Age Minimize 3D 4-in-1 Cleanser. If you want it, you can get it from me. It's going gonna be at a special price for Spirit of Beauty members for a limited time. Reach out. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Tell everyone to tune in. It is time to get caught up with Bishop Dee Gales and change the way you view the world.
I'm a hand of my B, U, crooked letter I, N, E, crooked letter, crooked letter. Let's go. I'm a hand of my business. I'ma be about my business. I'ma go and handle this business. 'Cause it's kingdom. Yeah. I'm a hand of my business. I'ma be about my business. I'ma go and handle this business. 'Cause it's kingdom. I'm a hand of my business. If the streets hard, can I get a witness? You best be listening or you gon' miss it. You best to keep yourself in tip-top business. Bringing in men like we willing and vicious. Love to eat the word and hate to clean the dishes. Now unto him that can exceed all of your wishes. Can overcome 1,000,000 of Judas's kisses. We love on the thug and pray for the misses.
In this exclusive interview, I asked the 45th Commander-in-Chief about some of his former officials and whether they'll be part of the new cabinet. You've spoken about the weaponization of law enforcement agencies, two-tiered system of justice. We watch it.
Yeah.
Who do you want to see in those roles? The AG, the FBI?
I want tough people, much tougher than Bill Barr. When they said to Bill Barr that we're going to impeach you for no reason, he got scared. You know what they do? It's called playing the ref. Once they said to him, we're going to impeach you, he became like a wallflower. He was sort of finished mentally, and I got him out. I said, even though it was late, I got him out. The Republicans have to be tougher.
You talk about this optimism ahead that we could see some relief, but the RNC doesn't seem to be so strong. I mean, the Democrats have all the money. Look at what we see. We got the Democrats actually with the money and spending it. The RNC seeking credit lines. The RNC reported its lowest bank balance at the point in any year in 2016. Comerica says Michigan GOP defaulted on a loan of $500,000.
So I have a lot of money, and the money that they get, people are not looking at the RNC. They want changes. You have to understand, I have nothing to do with the RNC. I'm separate.
How's Ronna McDaniel doing?
I think she did great when she ran Michigan for me. I think she did okay initially in the RNC. I would say right now, there'll probably be some changes made.
You've said many policy ideas and lots of hope ahead, but you're going to need a willing partner in the Senate. Senate leadership is against you. Mitch McConnell, he's massively anti-Trump. How are you going to work with him?
I think Mitch McConnell wants to endorse me. That's what I hear.
Really?
John Cornyn just endorsed me. I don't know if you know that or not, but John Cornyn just endorsed me. Steve Daines is a fantastic guy, endorsed me. I have.
So you think Mitch McConnell will
Just
endorse
so you know, like Nikki, she doesn't have any endorsements from the Senate. I have more than half of the Republicans have already endorsed me, and the rest of them are coming in. I don't know if he's going to endorse me. I just heard he wants to endorse me. But these are all people that are, everybody's getting in line. They're all getting aboard. And they also see the fact that we've changed the Republican Party. The Republican Party under Trump has become a tremendous success.
Are you going to be able to flip blue states like in New York and in New Jersey? There's a
I
rumor
think
you're going to
so.
do a rally in the South Bronx.
I think so, yeah. I think I will do that. And
Then when are you gonna do that?
I think I'll do one maybe at Madison Square Garden, too. I think we have a chance. New York has changed a lot in the last 2 years. We have migrants all over the street. They're living on Madison Avenue. I mean, nobody can believe what's happened to New York. The people of New York are angry. People that would have never voted for me because I'm a Republican. I mean, they're Democrats. Their parents would never, they vote for Democrats. I think they're going to vote for me. So I think we're going to give New York a heavy shot. They're very unhappy in New York, what's happening. And they're unhappy with the crime. You take a look at the crime in New York, it's at record levels. The other thing is, and very importantly, New Jersey. I think New Jersey can be flipped. I think that Virginia can be flipped. I think that New Mexico can be flipped. And I think Minnesota can be flipped. And I'm not even sure that everything can't be flipped.
And you're focused on Pennsylvania, too.
I did great in Pennsylvania twice.
Will you pursue an investigation into the Biden family and the influence peddling that the Oversight Committee has told us about?
I don't want to really say that. I don't think it's appropriate to say it right now. But I can tell you they have done things that are so bad in terms of weaponization.
The bottom line remains, you've got 91 counts, felony counts against you. You've got 4 indictments. You could be in trial this year and you could get convicted.
You know,
do you think about that?
No, because it's all about courage. You have to have courage for the country. I would have, if I didn't run or if I was in 5th place, I wouldn't have any indictments. I wouldn't have any problem. They went after me from before I even announced because they said we have to do it. It's all, these aren't indictments. These are Biden indictments.
How are you going to get through?
Washington, D.C. I just get through things, whatever it is. I'm doing this for the country. I didn't need this. I could have had the greatest life. Look at this. I could have had a nice time instead of doing a nice, fair, but tough interview with you. I could have had a very nice time in my life. I could have enjoyed it. But I enjoy it anyway because we're going to make America great again. This country is failing. This nation is failing. And it's incompetent people like Biden. Who wants open borders? Who wants high interest rates? Who wants bad education? Who wants all of this stuff? Who wants a woke military? Our country's going to hell. And it's an honor for me. I really say, anytime I get indicted, it's an honor because I'm doing it for you. And the people agree with it.
Now, you've said you don't even think that's who you're going to face off in November.
I
Is
don't
he going to
think
be the
so.
nominee?
Personally, I don't think so. With all
Who
that
is
I'm
it? Who will
saying,
the
I don't
Democrats
think.
put
I
up?
don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
Well, Gavin
watch,
Newsom's right out of central
I watch
casting.
it.
How
Yeah,
about
he
Gavin?
is.
How are you going to do up against Gavin Newsom?
I'll tell you what, because he's so much. He wants to say how wonderful it's doing horribly. His state is
California.
doing horribly. You look at the homeless problem. You look at the people that are leaving. You have companies that are leaving. They're all leaving for other locations. I think Gavin's easy because California is a disaster. He has been a horrible governor.
What if it's Michelle Obama? How are you going to do against Michelle Obama?
You have to see. Look, I've seen polls where she doesn't do well. She may do well, but I've seen polls where I beat her easily. I beat her by a lot. I had 4 great years.
Is your answer to getting inflation down drill, 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 independent oil?
Well, among other things, it's drill, drill, drill.
What
Yeah,
else?
it's drill, drill, drill.
What's your answer to
There
getting
is no
inflation down?
else. You have to get the oil. Look, I did something in Alaska that nobody could believe. I got rights to drill in Alaska on the largest oil, possibly the size of Saudi Arabia. And the first thing they did is they voided that. They knock out their oil leases. And now they're letting some things happen because if oil goes up, then he's finished. But they have been so bad and so disrespectful to that industry. It's incredible. I think this, our country's a mess. Our borders are open and insecure. 9 months is a long time. You have a very good chance in that period of time of having World War III because we have somebody that is not doing his job properly. He's not respected. He's laughed at all over the world. He's not doing a good job.
President Trump also told me that he believes inflation is likely to spike given the hostilities in the Red Sea, and that if elected again, he would not reappoint Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell. My thanks to former President Donald J. Trump. Up next, the man in the middle of the crisis, Texas Governor Greg